we get outreach from Columbine school system. It's actually Jeffco's school system, and the Columbine schools are embedded in that. And essentially, this was the 26th anniversary of the tragic school shooting, which is obviously national news. And you know, it's a very difficult time, as you can imagine, for that community and school. I mean, media goes down there, it runs on the national news. And on the 25th anniversary, a year ago, they got together, some of the, you know, executives, school board, and decided to see if they could sort of bring some maybe light and healing and turn this into something positive for the community and the school system, the educators. They turned it into you know, a day of service and remembrance and recognition, and they brought everybody together. They did some philanthropy in the community, and they had a speaker. And the year prior, the first time they had done this, they brought a woman in who was the National Teacher of the Year. You know, they do that award once a year, and the person is honored. And so she came and spoke to the teachers there, and it was a beautiful day, and it brought I think positive feelings into what normally is a difficult day or week. So that happened, and then they're planning this again because it went well. And so in the planning, they reached out to us and said, hey, explain that we have this day, and you're probably aware of who we are and what this is, and this is what we want to do. And I'm a business speaker, right? I mean, I there was a moment of pause for me, like I don't know if I'm necessarily the right person to come into this situation, and I don't know, I'm not going to be talking about sales or leadership or how to grow a business. This is a very different set of circumstances. And so we talked through it, and I actually kind of felt like, this actually is an opportunity for me to do something beautiful and honor my parents. My mom and dad were both school teachers, and that, I understand this is a dark moment, and actually it's an honor to be invited to bring some hope and healing and light and awareness into a situation like this. And so, after some internal reflection, I decided to say yes, and we went and had a beautiful day in Columbine. And they made it beautiful. They did a recognition, they did awards, and I think ultimately it's a reminder for the faculty, the staff, the community, of the incredible role they have as educators and teachers, and what I invited them to consider was, in that role, what you really are is a light worker. You're actually someone who is answering a call to bring healing, hope, and higher consciousness into a space that is difficult. And you do that through awareness and alignment and compassion and integrity and love. And that's what light workers do. They shine light in darkness. They heal through their presence and service. They awaken others by expanding awareness. They're in service. They're servants. And they lead and they educate and teach and inspire from the heart. I think sharing those ideas and really inspiring them or reminding them, it wasn't inspiration, it was just a reminder that this is who you are at your essence. This is who my mom is. This is how she's lived her whole life. And that in dark moments, people are turning and looking for those rays of light, and that's what you are. And it was a beautiful opportunity for me to recognize that some of these ideas about humans being human-centered and connection and service really do transcend beyond just the world of corporate America and the world of work. And it actually is an invitation for how to show up in service of others and create impact and ultimately be on your own path of meaning and fulfillment and purpose in what you do. My 3 principles in human-centered growth. To me, those 3 ideas are spiritual. They're not just a recipe to grow a business, they're a recipe to grow yourself and a way to live your life. And so think about Columbine. Well, the first thing I had to do was start with myself. Like, and I had all these questions and things coming up, like, why me? Can I go? Should I go? And I sat with it. I did what a human-centered leader does. I was introspective and thoughtful. And I moved through my own process of coming into way more awareness about what this opportunity meant. So I was intentional. So then I said yes. Step 2, connect in service. So now I'm aware of what I can bring to this moment, and now I'm looking outward. Now it's about my presence and connection and shining a light into this moment. And then the third thing, if you do the first two right, the third thing is momentum through harmony. It's yes, we all shared in this experience, and now we're moving forward and we're connected and we're in harmony. And because I went and had that experience, I'm way more in harmony with myself. And I think I brought something to them that is going to allow them to move forward also in harmony. Those are the three ideas, my three, sort of pillars of human-centered growth. And I think they're multi-applicable. They span more than just a work experience. We all go through difficulty in our lives. We do in business, we do at work. We're all navigating a human experience. And you don't have to be a teacher, a professional speaker, or an entrepreneur, or a CEO to be a light worker. I'd say sit quietly with yourself and reflect on the current status of your life. And this might be an invitation to find a circumstance or someone that you're connected to that actually could use some hope and some healing and some support, and be intentional about entering that moment, with your light. Look for an opportunity, guided by your compassion, your intuition, and your desire to serve. This is really an invitation to service. That's what being a light worker is. And it's maybe contemplating in your own life, is there an opportunity for me this week to answer that call?